Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Maya Rodriguez. Today on the program, business groups raise an appeal to downgrade Metro Manila's alert level to 2 ahead of the Christmas season. Also, a call for the government to scrap the mandatory quarantine for fully vaccinated travelers. Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion joins us live. And later, some private hospitals consider cutting ties with PhilHealth next year over unpaid claims. The president of the Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines, Dr. Jose De Grano, is also joining us later. Business groups say the pandemic task force should downgrade Metro Manila's alert level to 2 in November, or the country may lose more. They also say the easing of restrictions will boost the economy. This statement comes after the task force has maintained the current alert level 3 status. Let's go straight to the source of the story. Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship and Go Negosyo founder Joey Concepcion joins us now. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mai.
So tell us, how much more, or do we, or businesses for that matter, stand to lose if the government doesn't downgrade the alert level status?
Well, as early as August, the first week, our group really pushed for the early lockdown of 2 weeks upon the suggestion of our advice of Octa Research, because my goal was to really try to save the fourth quarter for many of our MSMEs. Now, of course, we saw cases go up and we saw cases go down early week of October, as predicted by Octa. And they have been a good advisor to my group, the private sector, in guiding us through this pandemic. Now, the whole point is that the fourth quarter is when most of the MSMEs really recover whatever they've lost. And as you know, this whole year we had a number of lockdowns and long lockdowns as well. And the fourth quarter, about 40% of the year's sales are in this quarter. This is a quarter when Christmas season induces a lot of spending for, of course, Christmas gifts. And of course, greater mobility, because people want to celebrate with loved ones. So they go out, restaurants, and they go to spas and salons to look good. I mean, everybody wants a happy Christmas, especially from where we have gone through. And I believe by November 15, there is no way but to move towards alert level 2. And it's very clear that the infection levels have gone down and that the number of vaccinated in NCR already is at 85% fully vaccinated. So NCR deserves an alert level 2. And all those areas who also have vaccinated greater than 70% of their LGU population should move to alert level 2.
Mm-hmm. You've been pushing for us to open up more by November 15 or earlier dapat po. Pero ano po yung mga apektuhan, for example, specifically yung 13th month pay pag hindi po nangyari ito?
Alam naman natin kasi kung walang cash flow, paano nila babayaran ng mga utang nila? Isang utang dyan, yung utang sa mga empleyado who are supposed to get the 13-month pay. Siyempre, pro-rata yan. During the year, during closure, walang trabaho. Then they will not need to pay these employees because there was no work because of the lockdown. But surely, I mean, there were a lot of days also that they were on work. But ang problema ngayon, kung wala silang kita, paano nila babayaran ito ng utang nila? 13-month pay, mga utang sa bangko, yung mga amortization sa mga bahay nila, and siyempre mga suppliers nila. No? And they need the raw materials to be able to operate their business. And I believe, okay, fine, that the government wanted 2 more weeks just to be sure. I think that's fine. But kung hindi nila ibababayan ang November 15, masisira yung fourth quarter ng mga negosyante. So moving to the year 2022, it will be quite challenging for many of them, no? And that's what we don't want to see. But I'm confident that the IATF will respond by bringing it down to alert level 2.
Yes. Your proposal, sir, a downgrade to alert level 2 until the end of the year, and you've cited NEDA's projections for this. How many jobs will be recovered should this happen?
Well, I'm not only saying until the end of the year, until until we can take it through. As infections go down, then it should be fine. And even if infections go up, let's remember the vaccinations prevent hospitalization. So people who get sick can just recover from their home. So there is no need to panic when the cases eventually move up to 2,000, 3,000, or even higher in a particular area, because as long as the area is 80% vaccinated, then the risk is much less. No? So I think the opportunities are there for next year. Employment will definitely, and has picked up because people are now hiring more people to work. No? They need them. And there's a struggle right now because some of them have moved to the provinces, so they're being asked to come back. So definitely employment will go up. Definitely 2022, if we don't lock down anymore or just continue granular lockdowns, then the growth will come back. Restaurants and all these MSMEs will be able to survive. No? And of course, election year, there's more spending, and businesses will also benefit from all of this. No? And that's a good time to really bounce back. And what's important is we really have to give confidence, not only to our consumers so that they can spend more. Number two, we have to give the business owners the confidence that 2022 will be a much better year. And of course, importante dyan mga bangko. If they don't have confidence that the economy is going to make it through, they will hold back lending. But if they see that the economy is opening up, may game plan na tayo between the private and public sector. Vaccinations are being rolled out to the provinces, which is now the area of focus. Then they will be more optimistic. They will start to be more aggressive in lending. They will restructure the loans of those who cannot pay. No? So that is going to happen. So confidence is going to be very important. And for confidence to happen, we have to open the economy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but na-disappoint po ba kayo? How disappointed were you na naging alert level 3 pa rin ang NCR?
Well, I somehow expected it. But there's no harm in trying to push for alert level 2 on last November 1. Prior to November 1. And we discussed it with all of the business establishments, and they were also aware that alert level 3 could continue. But in the end, what's important is moving forward. November 15 is, the day that we have no choice. I think Secretary Chua's numbers are quite frightening, and I hope we don't get to that level of huge debt, and the effect will last 5-6 years thereafter. Yes, there will be this pandemic will affect us for quite some time, but I hope you don't go beyond 5 years. I hope this is just going to be a 1-2 year thing. Mm-hmm. But I believe that 2022, if we do what we have planned, vaccinate the provinces and our LGUs there and mayors and barangay captains, push hard to get that vaccine hesitancy down, because right now the Octa survey shows vaccine hesitancy in the province is extremely high, between 15 to 20%. That's very high. So the barangay captains have to really work double time to convince it's in the DE sector, the poorest of the poor, that are misinformed. So we have to correct that, and we have to give them the right information. The private sector was able to do a 90 to 100% vaccination rate because we have supervisors and our foremen that go down and explain to the rank and file the truth. A lot of misinformation is there, we correct it. So this is going to be the challenge. It's not going to be vaccine supply anymore. It's going to be vaccine hesitancy in the provincial areas. That will be the challenge.
Yes. Well, so under alert level 2, outdoor activities of businesses with a safety seal would be allowed to 80% capacity. And what else? Ano-anong businesses pa, for example, ang pwedeng mag-open up?
Well, you have now, of course, the restaurants, the salons, the spas, the Vicky Bello type of beauty centers. Of course, cinemas are opening up, amusement parks, and hopefully next year we will see whether we can have outdoor concerts. Now we might push for that. Tourism is opening up. The IATF has approved our recommendation to bring down the quarantine from what it was 10 days. Now it's down to 5 days for fully vaccinated and the balance at home, and then 7 days for the unvaccinated. We're still pushing for no quarantine, and that's the next push. No more quarantine upon arrival, provided they take a RT-PCR test, and fully vaccinated. So that decision should be out there hopefully this week, to allow our balikbayans to come home and spend time with their family. I mean, our biggest tourists still are our own balikbayans who want to come home and see their families, especially this Christmas. Many of them have lost loved ones and friends, so they want to come home. And I hope the IATF decides on this matter. We've been pushing hard on bringing the quarantine to zero. And I think there's one stumbling block, which is a PCR test upon arrival, which that can be easily solved. So we want it to be a very Merry Christmas, and that will really buoy up the confidence of our consumers, our MSMEs, and moving towards 2022, there will be more excitement. And there is clearly now a roadmap on how we can coexist with COVID-19. And that's, to me, what's important. We have that strategy. Now we just have to make sure it's implemented very well.
There's lots more to talk about, but we'll have to take a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion. Okay, let's talk more about the quarantine requirements for travelers, sir. You want no more quarantine for vaccinated Pinoys?
Yes, so we've requested that basically they have classified green and yellow countries. Unfortunately, the green category, America, Canada is not there, and certain European countries, And we've requested that if they can allow North America, which a lot of Filipinos reside now, and especially a lot of healthcare workers are in America right now, if they can come home this Christmas. So we have proposed that if they are able to do a PCR test in 48 hours before departure, and then upon arrival, another PCR test, then it's pretty safe, So that is our recommendation. They're supposed to decide on this hopefully this week, because people are planning to really book their tickets and come home. Of course, Philippine Airlines, which have filed for Chapter 11 in America, need all the support and help. Right now, they've allowed 4,000 people to come into the country, but that's not enough. That has to be increased for these airlines to survive. Prior to the pandemic, they were doing about 40,000, according to PAL President Gilbert Santa Maria. So we've been meeting the airlines, myself, of course, and the key people here, Secretary Locsin, Ambassador Babes Romualdez, Secretary Tugade. And I believe that it can happen because Thailand has now reduced their quarantine down to 1 day for fully vaccinated people coming into Thailand. So I think we have to start opening up, especially our tourism sector, for domestic tourism, and eventually for foreign tourists. And this is where this sector is greatly challenged. And Secretary Berna is doing her best to try to open it up. We're supporting her. The airlines need the help. We can't afford to lose Philippine Airlines. If they go bankrupt and they don't meet their commitments to their creditors, then that's it. On top of that, we also launched a campaign, basically Vax to the Max. It shows here the Philippine map here. And then what we're doing now is we're trying to show the vaccine levels, the percentage of fully vaxxed in each area, so that other areas will also get inspired to really ramp up vaccination in the provinces. NCR has achieved 85%. We now have to get the provinces, the LGUs there, to really push higher and target higher, so that the entire Philippines, not just NCR, will be fully protected. And the supply is adequate now to supply all these provincial areas, and especially the tourism destinations from Boracay to Bohol to Palawan and all of that. That should be also another immediate focus so that we can bring back tourism safely.
Well, how do you plan to roll this out? For example, sabi nyo, RT-PCR test na lang ang requirement for travelers coming in?
Yes, RT-PCR test, that's part of what we proposed. No? 48 hours prior to departure, let's say from North America, and upon arrival, another RT-PCR test upon arrival. And I believe that is much cheaper than staying in a facility hotel for 5 days. And of course, these people don't have a lot of time. They have vacation leaves, they have got to go back to work, and they want to spend it with family. So the balance of that quarantine is really spent at home. So let's allow them to do home quarantine. They can take their RT-PCR test in their home, provided that their home is in NCR. No? But if they have to cross over to a provincial area, then they'll have to do a one-day facility quarantine. And that is part of our recommendation to the ITF, which they're still deliberating on. Hopefully this week there will be good news, because I believe that many of these people, our balikbayans, really do want to come home. Ambassador Babes was saying, yes, a lot of requests of people wanting to come home and spending more time with the family, not spending time in the quarantine hotel, no, because they will be wasting that precious moment when they can use that time with families.
Of course, the IATF has to be very cautious, but you said that hopefully they will decide on this quarantine requirement within the week. But how do you plan to lobby for this, especially with the threat na baka may mutations pa ang virus and possible new variants?
Well, if we look at in America, everything is normal in America. So many Filipinos have been traveling to America. So they have Delta, we have Delta. We have seen our positive levels go down. And if you look at the risk that the Philippine Airlines presented on traveling on their flights over the past 5 months, the level is 0.3, 0.6% for fully vaccinated. That is extremely low. And Father Nick Austriaco of Opta also presented. We asked him to present to the IATF what are the risks, and it's really very, very low. And I think considering that we have all of this required testing to be done upon arrival, then that will even make it further, risk-free. So we have to take some risk. And the point is that for fully vaccinated people, even if they do get infected, they will not be hospitalized. I mean, the chance of hospitalization is extremely, extremely low. And or else, why are we implementing a vaccine strategy if that is not the end game? No? So we really do have to save the airlines. We really do have to save our tourism sector, and hopefully this whole thing will really benefit down to the MSMEs who support not only the hotels, but all these hotels buy their supply from a lot of MSMEs. No? So we have to bring back tourism. That's an industry that has been greatly hit.
Certainly, we are all waiting and ready for good news. Thank you so much for your time, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion. Thank you for your time, sir. Coming up next, some private hospitals consider cutting ties with PhilHealth next year over unpaid claims. Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines President Dr. Jose De Grano tells us more live. Stay with us.